So we're getting right back into it with 57, and it actually follows the same note sheet, but I figured we'd break it up in 2 videos. So now we're going to specifically talk about triangles and their similarity. So to make solving similar triangle problems a little bit easier, here's a couple hints we can do, is sketch a picture, write the proportion, and then solve the proportion. So if you need to take a second, jot those 3 things down. So we're going to have a very similar idea, except we're going to do triangles now. Okay, here we go. This statement reads, triangle that contains A, B, and C is similar to the triangle that is STU. So I'm going to draw 2 triangles here, and I'm going to draw one slightly bigger because they are not congruent, but they are similar, so they're scaled somehow. So I'm going to label this triangle ABC. And I have to make sure if I start down here in the bottom left corner with A, I start down here with S, I go up to the top because T and B go together, and then I come down here for U. Because remember, if you line them up on top of each other, like I'll do over here, A, B, C, S, T, U, A and S should be in the same position, B and T, and C and U. Okay, if AB, BC, and AC are 6, 8, and 9 inches respectively, right, means in that order. So AB comes first, 6 comes first. So AB is 6, BC is 8, AC comes last, so that's 9. And we know that ST is 8.8. Then find SU. So I'm going to put an X down here. We want to find SU. All right, so here's the question. We know that we need to use a proportion. So this is the small. We need to go big, 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 small, small. So we know the only option we have, guys, for the big is to go, let's go big over big. So we did ST over SU. So if we put ST on the top of the proportion, guess what? We need to put AB on the top of the proportion. So go find AB. That's 6. And SU we put on the bottom. So S to U, we need to put A to C. Remember, guys, it's all about the ordering. So where's AC? That's 9. Boom, there's our proportion. Big over big, small over small. Making sure that we use the correct sides that match up. Let's do a little cross multiplying. 6 times x is 6x. 8.8 times 9, 79.2. Divide by 6 to solve for x. 13.2. And think about it. Remember, the left side was smaller than the bottom. So proportionally in this triangle, the left side needs to be smaller than the bottom. And sure enough, it checks out that we get the bottom to be a little bit bigger at 13.2. Okay, let's keep rocking and rolling here. Doing our ordering. It's all good stuff. The order matters. It's all good. A little slow today. Okay, use similar triangles to find x. Interesting. So, we need 2 triangles. So, I think hopefully we can all see this triangle here, the small triangle, down here in the bottom. And then hopefully we also see this whole thing. That was I did not mean to choose that. I meant to choose green. Guys, the whole triangle is our big triangle. Okay? So look at all the measurements we have. We have the whole bottom length. So here's what we're going to do. Remember, we're going to go big, big, big over big equals small over small. So let me switch back to black. So we're going to go big side over big bottom. Don't laugh. Equals same proportion. Small side over small bottom. Because remember, if you're going to go side over bottom, you need to also go side over bottom. And if you're going to go big over big, you got to go small over small. All right, so the big side here is 3. The big bottom, all the way that says it goes all the way down here, is 5. The small side right here is x over small bottom, which is 2. Bada bing, bada boom. Do a little cross multiplying. 5x equals 6. Divide by 5. X equals 1.2. Perfect. And again, do a quick mental check. Is the bottom bigger than the side on the big triangle? Yes. 5 is bigger than 3. So in the small triangle, the bottom of 2 should also be bigger than the side. So when we get the side to be 1.2, it checks out. Good stuff. Let's keep rocking and rolling and rocking and rolling. Dude, that computer is slow today. All right, here we go. Given that A, B, C is similar to D, E, F, so I'm going to write them on top because I always feel like it makes it easier to see. Solve for X and Y. Okay, so let's just start by solving for X. So we have the big one over here, big triangle, small triangle. All right, so we know we're going to use X, which is the side that goes D to F. So then in the big triangle, what other side do we know we're going to have to use because it corresponds to that? Well, it's got to be A to C. So we know we're going to use A to C. And now, here's the thing, guys, is that we can't solve a proportion with two variables. So for the time being, we can't use the y, which means we have to use the 9, which is BC. So we know that then we also need to use the same corresponding side, which is EF. So we got to use this one over here. All right, so we're going to go, so this is for X. We're going to go big over big equals small over small. So let's go the big diagonal over the big bottom. So 16 over 9 equals the small diagonal over the small bottom. And you could flip those. You could do big bottom over the big diagonal, or the small bottom over the small, diagonal side, but you just got to make sure you're consistent. Okay, so we cross multiply. 9x equals what? 60 plus 36, so 96. Divide by 9. Doesn't come out even, but it is 10 point, oops. Let me just scratch this out. X equals 10.6666, so we'll say 10.7. Okay? Now, I'm kind of just going to, kind of reset things here. So I'm just going to reset so that we have y, and we're not necessarily using 16 or 9. So we're good here. This is 10.7. Okay. And my suggestion, guys, is don't use the x that we already found. Just use some of the originals that you're given. Okay, so we need y, so we're going to have to use a to b. So then we have to use d to e, which is going to be this one here. And then I would say, again, use the bottom, because the bottom was a given measurement as opposed to this is more of something we solved. So I would say, so we'll go big left side over big bottom equals small left side over small bottom. So big left side is y over big bottom is 9. And the small left side is 9 over the small bottom is 6. Again, staying consistent. So 6y equals 81. Divide by 6, 81. Cut into 6 parts. Comes out nice and clean, 13.5. So your answer will probably look something like x equals 10.7, comma, y equals 13.5. This is the one that we're looking for. So we just had to set up two different proportions. Again, if you're going to do side over bottom, big over big, small over small. Keep it consistent. All right, so these last two examples are just asking you for two different questions, and you just need to make sure that you're reading carefully to determine which, okay, yeah. this guy. If you know, you know, Big Lebowski. If that means nothing to you, then look it up. But if you know, you know. All right, so the difference here, guys, is between 7 and 8 is you're being asked to do you're asked two different questions in the end. So it says triangles ABC and triangle, if you remember this little marker we say is the word prime. So this is called ABC prime. I don't know, it's a little strange, but we call it ABC prime. They could have easily just said like XYZ. Anyways, it says find the value of X. Okay, so we have our big triangle over on the left and our small triangle over on the right. We're only given, you know, two sides. So how about we do big left over big bottom, and then it's going to be small left over small bottom. Same pattern. Okay, so we're going to do x plus 4, big left over big bottom, equals small left over small bottom, which is x. Okay, so we need to make sure we put in parentheses. So now we cross multiply. So we get x times x plus 4 equals 12. And here is where I want you guys to just stop. If you want to get into quadratics, an exponent of 2, that's fine. But here's where I want you to stop. And I want you to test your answer options to say which one makes it true. So, for example, let's say that A was 5 and B was, I don't know, 2, and C is 10 and D is 3. Okay, now you just need to plug in your answers and see if it makes it true. Okay, so for example, let's try 5. So 5 goes in for x, parentheses, 5 goes in for x again, plus 4. Does that equal 12? So parentheses first, 5 times 9, does that equal 12? No way. Okay, let's test out 2. 2 in for x, wherever you see an x, so it actually goes in both times. Parentheses first, 2 times 6. Does that equal 12? Yes. So then you know that your answer is going to be 2. 2 is what will go in for x and make it true. So that's my suggestion. Test your answer options. Now, the only difference between 7 and 8 is that instead of simply asking you to find x, in the end, in number 8, it's asking you to find the length of the side. You will need x, but then make sure you just take it the little step further, because it's asking you to find the value of AB, which is this distance here. So we're definitely going to need x, but then we just got to make sure that we add 8 to it, because we're really trying to find AB. Okay, so let's do the same thing. We'll do big over big, small over small. And let's switch it up. Let's do the bottoms in the top of the fraction this time. So let's go big bottom, which is 5, over big left side, which is x plus 8, and the small bottom, which is x, over the small left side. That's fine. We can flip the fractions, so what? Need to put this in parentheses. So x times x plus 8 equals 20. Okay, and remember, we're going to stop. So let's say that, I don't know, maybe A was 3, B was 8, C is 2, and D is 14. Now, we can probably just think this through, guys. I mean, think about it. If you plug these answers in for x, you're going to have to add 8 and then times it by like whatever you did. So like, let's take 14, for example. If you add 14 to 8, you get 22. And if you times it by 14, there's no way that you're going to get 20. Same thing, 8 plus 8 is 16 times 8. Oh my god, you're going to get a number in the hundreds. So no, So it's going to come down to either 3 or 2. So plug in 3. 3 plus 8, does that equal 20? 3 times 11 is 33, so it does not work out. So it must be 2. Let's just test it. 2 times 2 plus 8, does that equal 20? 2 times 10 does equal 20, so it checks out. So now, remember, x is 2, but you are being asked to find the value of AB. So really, 2, so AB is equal to x plus 8. So you really need 2 plus 8. So AB is equal to 10. So make sure when you go find what x is, okay, you need to go back in and make sure you're doing what you're being asked to do, is find the value of AB. Okay, so similar figures, similar triangles. Let's get on accelerated math and let's rock it. So slow. All right, I don't know, gang. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, cool. Have fun.